The fact that he was trying to be so secretive about it just made me so uncomfortable, and like knowing that he has pictures of me in a swimsuit somewhere, it makes me sick.
Thousands of people on social media shared their concerns about a man taking photos of women in bathing suits and kids at Island Park's pool. Thanks for joining us.
Now, the man found out about the uproar and went to police, where he showed them his photos. Police saying there was nothing criminal in nature about the photos, and what he did is not illegal.
But this man is now banned from all Fargo parks. Valley News Team's Krista Boehm has more on this story.
A day at the park catching some sun is all this woman wanted.
I never thought that that would be an issue here.
But it was cut short.
He looked very suspicious and had a camera with a huge lens on it, which was a red flag to me.
Keeping an extra eye out, she and a friend noticed the man circle the area, sit on a bench with the lens pointed right at them.
We watched him snap pictures of us, trying to be secretive.
She says she worries that a stranger has pictures of her in a swimsuit without her consent.
My friend tried to walk up to him to confront him, and when he saw her walking towards him, he immediately got up and went to his car and sped away as fast as he could.
Concerns from others surfaced after the women posted his picture on Facebook.
It kind of freaks me out. It makes me sad that in our nice community that we have to worry about things like that.
A frightening situation as a parent, like Judy Lund, who always keeps her head up.
I tend to kind of watch the people around me and be aware of them instead of just strolling around in my own little world. I don't really look at my phone.
You're always looking for people that may be taking extra notice of your children, or people that just don't seem like they look quite right.
And though it's not illegal, it was a look this woman spotted right away.
If there's one person doing it, there might be more.
Krista Boehm, Valley News Live.
Park employees spotted the man and called authorities, and police say that if you see anything suspicious, don't approach the individual. Instead, call them right away.
The FBI is warning local law enforcement to be on the lookout for a new killer. Flakka, a synthetic drug, is believed to be as dangerous as meth, cocaine, and bath salts. While police tell us they haven't busted anyone with it locally, they are concerned with other synthetic drugs in the area and the things people do while using them, saying the drugs are getting stronger and people using them are getting younger.
These synthetic drugs, they're made with chemicals that nobody knows what they are. And as soon as the government comes around and bans a certain chemical, well, then they'll go mix something else up to make a different chemical in this drug.
Meanwhile, 2 men have been found guilty of using a skateboard shop in Bismarck as a front to sell thousands of packages of synthetic drugs in 2012. A jury returning its verdict for owner Thomas Tepley of Moorhead and manager Stephen Johnson of Bismarck. The West Fargo School District will be conducting its own investigation into whether Aaron Knodel should return to work. He's a former North Dakota Teacher of the Year who was acquitted of charges accusing him of having a sexual relationship with a student 6 years ago. Knodel was suspended without pay last August when the charges were filed. Superintendent David Flowers says we respect and accept the decision of the court on those charges and consider Mr. Knodel exonerated. Our focus is on questions of behavior and judgment and whether any ethical lines were crossed that would cause us concern or influence recommendations regarding Mr. Knodel's employment in the district. Now, Flowers said that he would present a report to the school board on July 27th. The state licensing board plans to meet a week later to consider Knodel's licensing status.
Police are still looking for a man who made a prank phone call last night, leading the SWAT team to a Grand Forks Walmart. It was the same store where 2 people died and another was wounded during a shooting in May. Police say a man called and said he was in the store armed, holding hostages and demanding money. He threatened to kill a hostage if police tried to enter the store. Then he said that he was joking and hung up the phone. Police say that doesn't rule out the suspect that he might have evil intentions in the future. Police say they may publicly release a recording of the man's voice at a later date, but for now they're asking you to contact police if you have any information connected to this case.
Some Washington lawmakers are trying to lift a ban that's been in place for more than 40 years on most U.S. crude oil exports. North Dakota Congressman Kevin Cramer says one of the problems was educating others in D.C. Now the bill has over 100 bipartisan co-sponsors. Supporters say the move will lower your gas prices and create thousands of new jobs. Congressman Kramer says he hopes Congress can pass the bill before the August recess. The strategy might include attaching it to the highway bill, which he says some lawmakers say is a must-pass bill.
The Barnesville Police Department tells us tonight that what seemed to be a small explosion was caused simply by one employee lighting the oven. One person is being treated for burns after the incident yesterday at the Flower Box Bakery and Bistro in Front Street in Barnesville. The person injured had some skin peeling from the burns and was life-flighted to a Fargo hospital as a precaution, but his condition is still unknown and no major damage was reported.
The Moorhead City Council has approved emergency repairs for a bridge that was damaged in a crash last month. Moorhead City engineer Bob Zimmerman says the pedestrian bridge at 20th Street, that's over Interstate 94, sustained between $200,000 and $300,000 in damage when a semi hauling a crane ran into it. Zimmerman says they're hoping to get the damage fixed quickly because next year 20th Street will be a detour route while work is being done in another part of Moorhead.
As KFGO reports, a trial is underway today in federal court for the case of a man who says Moorhead police used excessive force when they shocked him with a taser. James Van Raden is suing Moorhead police officer Stephen Larson for pain and injury, emotional harm, and medical expenses. Van Raden was 75 years old when Larson shocked him with a stun gun while responding to a welfare check. Van Raden was unarmed, and was not under arrest. Claims against two other Moorhead officers and a false arrest allegation were dismissed.
The Fargo Police Department is warning residents of a white van scam. Last Saturday, someone called police saying that they were approached by two white males asking if he wanted to buy some sound equipment. Well, the males offered him a surround system for $400, told him it was valued at $2,000. On the box, it showed the surround system was worth $2,438. Now, the males were driving a white Buick SUV with an unknown license plate.
It was a wild and frightening Sunday for many in the valley as severe weather swept across our region. Tornado warnings and watches were in our area, and some of our viewers were even driving at that time.
Valley News Team's Christine Stanwood explains the do's and don'ts while driving in the midst of tornadic activity.
It was really windy towards the time we went under the bridge. That's what prompted us to do it.
It can happen in a matter of minutes. You're driving on the highway and the skies turn dark and the clouds begin to build. Your first instinct may be to pull over under that overpass, but that decision could cost you your life.
Going under an overpass I know it looks like it's a sturdy structure, but it's really not a safe place to be.
Yesterday's severe weather allowed for dangerous mistakes to be made. Gary and grandson Caden made that mistake while driving back from a baseball tournament.
It looked like a funnel cloud was forming right above us. So that's why we decided to seek shelter. And
that's when I revealed to the Robinson family that their decision was the most dangerous they could have made.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So Gary knew he should have trusted his gut.
My son asked me, what should we do? And I said, I think we should take the ditch. And he said, no, it could suck you right out of there. So I got to thinking, yeah, maybe that's right.
Taking shelter under an overpass during a tornado is a common misconception. Brian Sean from the Red Cross tells me what the first step should be if you know a tornado is near.
If you can drive and get to a sturdy building, that is really the best thing for you to do.
I guess I've never really heard things, you know, what actually to do when you're in a tornado like that. So now we know better.
Valley News Live team's meteorologist Hutch Johnson explains what to do in this critical situation.
Make sure you get as low as you can, lie down flat to stay out of the wind and stay away from the flying debris.
Next time you're out on the road and you see a tornado, don't forget these facts. In Fargo, Christine Stanwood, Valley News Live.